It's great to see you, and that's they were just saying. I mean, I've been following the tour. Just looks amazing, and I'm sure Max's. You've been on Max's program a few times, so I know you've chatted about the great so-called mainstream media interview you did, where they confronted you about why you warned people to go to the bar if they didn't like politics or care about people.
They didn't confront me. It was Michael Smockonish on CNN. There was no confrontation going on. We had a friendly chat for about half an hour, and he put about 7 minutes on CNN, cutting out all kinds of important background information to the war on Ukraine, i.e. cutting out everything from 1990 until February the 24th, 2022. All of that disappeared. There was no provocation, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Anyway, that's not here or there. I'm not blaming, Michael. He does his job, and he does it, given that he only looks at the mainstream Western propaganda-based side of any question because he works for CNN, and you're not allowed to do anything else on CNN, as we know, than that. So I don't blame him for that, and it was a perfectly nice interview, and I do always remember Michael because he did interview me when I was in Florida once, and my kids who sing Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, that was several tours ago, were removed from the show by local politicians under pressure from, am I allowed to say, some local Jewish organization. They were a Jewish organization who removed them, but they removed because they're Zionists, not because they're Jewish. Let's make that absolutely plain.
So a pro-Israel organization.
Yeah, some pro-Israel, exactly. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. This is why I always need you looking over my shoulder, telling me exactly how to phrase what it is that I say about things, because it's so easy.
Well, with respect to that, you mustn't mention at all the idea that any Ukrainian army elements don't like Jews and historically were responsible for some of the worst atrocities against Jewish people in history, of course.
As an American Jew, I'm much more afraid of and upset about Kanye West and my government giving billions of dollars to sig-heiling Nazis who worship Stepan Bandera, the man who slaughtered my people alongside the Nazis in the Holocaust of bullets. It's really Kanye West that's the problem. And I think that one black man in America has the power to existentially threaten American Jews. I'm just terrified.
I think he lost some sponsorship, didn't he?
Yeah, I think a creative artist just canceled me right now. I lost my agent. But Roger,
it's verboten. Sorry,
Roger.
I didn't.
Well, Anya, you were commenting on Roger's tour because we watched you. I think we saw you twice.
Yeah,
so good the first time.
I just finished. I finished in Mexico City on the 15th, which is a few days ago now, which was remarkable because all gigs always in Mexico are amazing because they're just very, very different than most Americans. And in consequence, having said that, though, I don't want to knock the audiences who came to my shows in North America, either in Canada or in the United States of America, because you know what? Which camera is it? Am I looking at a camera? Where is it? Tell me where. Oh, look, it's
where
is it?
It's that
this is so weird.
You're under total ubiquitous surveillance, so the camera's everywhere.
There. Am I looking at you?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, cool. Yeah, what was I going to say? The really important part, because it's new, of the show I'm doing now is I do bits of a new song, and the new song is called The Bar, as you know, because you came to the show. Okay, and I play the piano and I sing it, and it's very intimate. But the bar is based upon this idea that we all carry within us the capability of speaking to our fellow human beings. And in my head and in my heart and in my soul, the place exists, and I call it the bar. And you can get a drink there, that's why it's called the bar, but you can meet your friends, but you can also meet strangers, and you can have conversations like the conversations you can have with strangers in a bar, where you can express your political opinions and your feelings about love and hate and all of those kind of things without being denied access to the internet, for instance, speaking of present company, without being fired from your job, without being told to be quiet, sit down, do as you're told, repeat the propaganda that we're all repeating, or we're going to shut you up. We're going to silence you. So this is why, anyway, let me finish with the bar and the American audiences. They got it. Every night, I would say that tonight, we, all 16,000 of us, are in the bar. It's not just me and my band around this piano with these glasses of mezcal on the top. It's all of us. And they completely got it. So whether they agree with me politically or not over certain issues, they understood that we were in a place of love, where we can exchange our love with our brothers and sisters, even if our brothers and sisters all live in Raleigh, North Carolina. That was a huge surprise. Everyone in the band, we go, whoa, what's going to happen tomorrow when we go to Raleigh, North Carolina? We cross the Mason-Dixon line. They're all going to be these rabid Republican monsters who will chew us to death and spit us out. Well, they didn't. They were all human beings, just like we were on the stage. So that was the remarkable thing. About 10 gigs in, suddenly it felt as if we were kind of part of a movement, and a movement towards the possibility that the human race might say to the leaders, fuck off, we are actually human, we in the human race, and we want to get on with one another, and we don't want to be charred crisps after the nuclear war that you're all trying to have, in spite of everything that we might have to say about it. So it was really encouraging. And I've come off the end of the tour going, it's not just the Mexicans, it's the Americans, North Americans, as well as South Americans. And it's not just the North and South Americans, it's actually all of us people all over the world. We know that Lindsey Graham is a crazed, homicidal, omnicidal arsehole. And so are all his beliefs. And we don't subscribe to any of them. And that goes for many, many, many of our leaders, not just in the United States of America, in Russia too, probably in China, if we have to throw China into the act. I'd rather save China for a few. Let's deal with what's going on right now and put a stop to it. And it's going on in the Ukraine, ladies and gentlemen. And we, the people, want it to stop. But unfortunately, our Joe Biden particularly doesn't want it to stop because it's good for business. Well, we want it to stop. We don't want you killing our brothers and sisters in the Ukraine. Oh, but it wasn't me, it's Putin. No, it's not. Putin, all that nonsense is provoked by at least 40 years of US foreign policy, of you wanting to rule the world. You can't rule the world, Joe. The world cannot be ruled. The world can be loved and respected and protected and hopefully saved for future generations, for our children and our grandchildren, as well as yours. But you're going to have to take the first baby step towards being human yourself, rather than being a wealthy, very, very powerful puppet. All right. So that, I mean, I know I should be careful what I say, because I've been warned so many times, but I don't care. I really don't care. What I care about is those 16,500 people in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'm getting shivers down my back even saying this, going, you know what, Roger? We're with you, brother. We feel it. We feel this movement growing, this movement of community and love for all our brothers and sisters all over the world, irrespective of their ethnicity or religion or nationality. That's enough of a speech for the moment. Ashley, God, I've missed you. You should be sitting in the pub having a beer, right?
I would love that. Yeah, you're going to have to watch the first part. I don't want to take too much away from you as the star now of this episode of Grayzone, because you know, I don't want to take time away from a rock god and all of that. I actually was asking Max just earlier before I go. Obviously, you're invited to be on Going Underground when we restart. That's gonna happen. But I was just saying to Max, and it happens to the Grayzone, I know as well, because I think many of us rely on the Grayzone now to tell us things that are clearly barred from so-called mainstream media. How can someone with as many followers on Twitter as you, Roger, tweet and only get like 10 retweets or 20 retweets sometimes when you have nearly 500 million followers? How is that possible?
Well, it's somebody in a room somewhere twiddling knobs and going, nope, no, no. Who's that? No, no, no. It's fucking Zuckerberg and the rest of those arseholes manipulating it all to keep the people who serve their needs, but not the people's needs, their needs. Zuckerberg's needs, Gates's needs, Elon fucking Musk's needs. They serve their needs, but they don't serve the people's needs. We at least get to travel around the world. Max travels constantly, you know, and so does Anya, and so do you, and so do I. And we actually see the world through this lens. You know, Zuckerberg and the other arseholes, they see it through this lens. Hang on, let's see if I can get it small enough so that none of us are in it. Because that's the lens that they use. They use the lens that goes, how much money is going into my pocket and how can I not annoy the oligarchs who run the United States? Because if I do, I'm very powerful because I'm very, very rich, but I'm not inviolate. Look at all the arsehole oligarchs in Russia who thought they were inviolate because they were. Suddenly it's all gone pear-shaped and there's people coming at them from all directions because their value system is based on money as well. And it can very easily turn to ratchet. What can't be turned to ratchet is the love that we in this room, we four in this little room here now, have for our fellow human beings and for our children and for each other. And you can't buy into that club. You can buy into the power club, but you can't buy into the love club. But the love club has far more value in it than the rich club. Far, far more. I can tell you this now because I'm 79 and I've learned this through, well, I've been attached to the idea for most of my life, but I'm absolutely certain now that that is true. And I meet so many wonderful people. I mean, you were talking about my tour. There are tables in there. So there's the Assange table and there's the Veterans for Peace table. Okay?
These are people who are activists who are tabling at your concerts and advocating for Assange with your support.
Exactly. Yeah, they are doing that. And so we support Assange in the show by having his name up there and saying we should free him and we should imprison the criminals. You know, how did the machine gunners get away with it? Though one should be harder on the people who gave the machine gunners their orders than on the machine gunners themselves. Though when you hear them talking as they slaughter
light them up
people in the street, light them up, well done, giving each other fucking high fives, slaughtering defenseless people with 30 caliber machine gun bullets and desperate to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
they couldn't actually, you know what I'm saying? They should not be in prison. They should be in a hospital because they're fucking sick. These are sick puppies that they were able to do, but they're sick because they've been educated in the army of the United States of America to be monsters, complete monsters. And we know it's very easy for countries to do this to people. And let's forget that arsehole who said, if you bring up the Third Reich, you lose the argument. No, you don't. We should all be bringing up the Third Reich all the time, particularly in reference to what's going on in apartheid Israel. Apartheid Israel, Katie Halperin. Apartheid Israel, Rashida Tlaib. Apartheid Israel. Everyone in the world who is not in total denial. Israel, stop it. Join the human race. Become part of this circle of love. Stop imposing your hated apartheid regime on the indigenous people of the Middle East. I nearly said please, but I know it's water off the duck's back. It's making your life a misery too. You are miserable. You're a miserable, miserable nation. Anyway.
Well, I know Anya has a question, but I want to give Afshin the chance to sign off because I know it's getting late, Dubai time. Afshin, if you want to stay with us, feel free. We've got Aaron Mate coming on in a few minutes, but if you want to sign off, here's a good
really
chance.
is English language royalty, journalistic royalty here, isn't it? It's how lovely it would be if we could even imagine that a new Home Secretary in Britain would just sign a piece of paper and we could have Julian Assange on this program tonight, because that's what could have happened instead of a Home Secretary that literally this Home Secretary as I was saying earlier, has vocalized, has supported, is on the record for supporting policies that would not have allowed her parents, presumably, to have ever immigrated to Britain so they could have become the people they were to stop Assange being released. That's how odd Britain has become.
Yeah, and if that happened, and this foreign secretary that you're talking about did that, you say it's a lady.
That's the new Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, Rishi Sunak's new Home Secretary.
I don't know, but if she is a she, in the aftermath of her immediate firing, she would be immediately fired if she did that. No, she would be able to say, I was just not following orders. She would be able to say that. And she would be able to be proud of saying, I refused to follow the orders of my superiors to kill an innocent man. I stood there. I was the concentration camp guard who said, no, this is wrong. And how cool would that be? I hope she does it. I doubt that she will. She's too well trained. Sit! Sorry.
Well, I'm going to sit down and watch the rest of this show now from from an armchair.
Oh, yeah. Get comfortable.
Hey,
nice talking
love you, Afshin.
Thanks so much for joining us, Afshin.
Yay, take care. Going underground, we'll be back soon.
Afshin has gone underground, and hopefully you resurface soon. Thank you so much. Oops, I just removed Roger, and Roger's back. So, Anya, go ahead.
Well, Roger, you started your This Is Not a Drill tour with a message for everyone that if they're one of those I love Pink Floyd people but can't stand Roger's politics, they should you should just fuck off to the bar right now. That was a message that comes on the screen before Roger takes the stage on this Is Not a Drill tour, which of course is very political, whether we are talking about the collateral murder video, the WikiLeaks documentation of U.S. war crimes that you feature in the show, and also Palestine, another issue you were just mentioning. Why did you decide to write that message? How did you get the idea to do that?
It's good theater, darling. Really. No, I mean, because I wanted to. Because it's been the subject of mystification for me. And I find it kind of mind-boggling that people could love the work that I did. I'm talking about the golden years, what are known as the golden years of Pink Floyd, which is everything from sort of metal through Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall, blah, blah, blah. that's kind of it. That's when you talk about Pink Floyd, that's what most people, they go, ooh, blah, blah, blah. And how can you love that without understanding that it's about everything that I've now said to this little camera here? But people do. People somehow have been, you know, one shouldn't be surprised, I guess. I remember Rick Wright before he died, obviously, because you can't do interviews when you're dead. As far as we know, let's not second guess all of that metaphysical stuff. I don't want to go there, Max. All right. Said, I remember him saying in shortly after I left the band in 1985 in an interview, well, we don't really care about lyrics. And I thought, you fucking prick. What a stupid thing to say. You may not. And then maybe he didn't. Maybe that's part of the schism is around that he never listened to any of the songs. I mean, he wrote the piano part for Us and Them. Probably one of the best songs that's ever been written about war, anti-war. So, Rick, you, bless you, you wrote that piano part. You recorded it and whatever. And I went, do you mind if I write a song? And you went, rather grudgingly, no. And I wrote a song. We did that together. Our names are on it. How you can listen to that song and not completely get what it's about. And it's about everything that I've said here today. It's encapsulated in. So people who call themselves fans, maybe they're people, no, I nearly said maybe they're people who can't read, but it can't be that because they can hear or see. So you would have to be deaf, dumb and blind
it
to
might
not understand that Pink Floyd's work is political.
It might just be inability to think critically. You can hear something, but if you can't process it,
think and feel. Yeah, that's an interesting thought because it conjures an image of a living entity that is actually like a piece of wood, and that's a really good image to carry with you. That there are lots of living entities that are like that, who they can see it, they can hear it. All right, those are two things, but they can't feel it and they can't understand it because they are devoid of an education and also devoid of the capacity to love one another.
But and you were talking about this at the beginning of the stream when I was having technical difficulties, but I wanted to ask you about The Bar because this is a new song that you feature among many of your classics that you were just naming. But what is the concept of The Bar? It's not necessarily an interactive portion of your show, but it does have that vibe where you're sitting down at the table and the piano and having a conversation with your audience. Where did you get the inspiration for that?
The Bar is a long song. So, and it's a song that I came to after I started to play the piano a bit, which I did during the lockdown sessions, which is another project that's finished now. They've all gone to mastering, so there will be an album coming out.
Really?
Yeah, called
album.
A new album called The Lockdown Session. I've given all these things away. They're all out there. Anybody can find them on the internet. But this will be, I don't know if it'll just be vinyl or whether it'll be streaming as well. So it's all the lockdown sessions that we did, and it started with Mother. I can't remember what the last one that we did with, and the new version of Comfortably Numb, which we do at the very beginning of this show. So that is the album. What was your question? It was something. Oh, the idea. Yeah. So The Bar. I wrote The Bar in the middle of lockdown. And it's 15 minutes long of me kind of rambling. When we went to Glendale in Arizona, I was determined to sing some songs, some lyrics about Raytheon. If I had time, I probably have got time. I will in a minute pull up the lyrics there we are, lyrics. Where does it say?
The Bar?
Yeah. Hang on.
There was one that stood out to me. You talk about imposing sanctions on a lady down the street.
Yeah, that's part of what I sing all the time. I've got it now here because I want to sing, not sing you, but I want to play you or recite to you. Go away. Oh, brilliant. It won't go. Here we are. I've got it here now. Okay. Yeah, because we were in Glendale, Arizona, and I thought that the headquarters of Raytheon, the well-known manufacturer of bombs and planes and all of that, I love this one. This is an early verse. All right, I'm going to read it. The man put out his hand to help me, gave me credit at the company's store. Had I looked into his eyes, it would come as no surprise that I can't make the payments anymore. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. But this is the bit I want to, for this, I sing a bit about Standing Rock. I love this one. Hey, barman. This is a dispossessed black lady who lives in the street, and she sings a line to the barman. She says, hey, barman, I have a question. As one of many victims, tell me why a failed fat fucking landlord has been chosen to decide who should live and who should die. Yes, I'm talking about Mr. Trump. Sweetheart, there's a reason you come in here. I know, I was just putting on my dancing shoes. With the right set of moves, we can turn this ship around. Together we can write tomorrow's news. This is another bit. Then this is the bit I was going to. Yeah. This is because I thought there were going to be people from Raytheon in the audience. There weren't. It's 500 miles from Tucson, where Raytheon's head office is. But these are the lines. And I've never sung, well, I sung them once in public on 8th Street, a Randy Credico thing, but it was a terrible piano and they didn't record it, and blah, blah. You can help them build a bomb at Raytheon, but they'll sell it on in Kalamazoo, and some crazy motherfucker's bound to drop it on a busload of kids going to school. You can hold up your hands in denial, justify the choices in your head, just doing your job, just an innocent cog, but those little Yemeni kids will still be dead. Do I sound a tad holier than thou? Well, sir, maybe I am. I'll admit it came easy to me to resist this fucking system, uneducated as I am. I eschewed the Bible for Ken Kesey, thought I'd try on a different hat. You see, just following orders don't come easy to me. I guess it just ain't where I'm at. And when I'm drinking my coffee in the morning and I read about all this Yemeni shit, I feel so fucking bad for that grieving foreign dad picking through the bus that's just been hit. So on Monday, when you're walking through the factory gates, and on Friday, when you're picking up your check, he'll be sitting on the curbside like the bicycle thief, but with no boy to put his arms round daddy's neck. So for any of you who work at Raytheon, that's a ditty for you to ponder, and also for the Home Secretary to ponder. When she's picking up her check, she needs to ponder why is she breaking the law? Why is she tossing everything that's happened since Runnymede in 1215, throwing Magna Carta out of the window, throwing habeas corpus away, just saying, nope, we don't believe in the law. We pretend we do. Well, what about human rights? Nope, we don't. Well, we do believe in human rights, of course, but not when it doesn't suit what our masters in Washington are telling us to do.
Well, so are you going to do a recorded studio version of the bar?
Yeah, of course I am. I'm actually working. I'm working on all kinds of different things at the same time. One of the things I'm working on is, and I came up with something the other day. Oh yeah, I know what it was. Because it will be a new album. It will probably be called The Bar. And so these different bits of the bar will bookend it and probably drop in other. It'll also be the song I wrote about Standing Rock, which I wrote at the same time, which I was going to do in the show, but in the end we didn't do that song in the show. There's another song that I co-wrote with a guy called Pat Leonard years ago that I really love. But I'm not all that in love with his music, so I may rewrite the music, and that may be on it. I might even put Crystal Clear Brooks on it, which is an old song that I think has already been released on something else. But it's very central to the general idea of the bar as an album and as a concept, of which is, if only we could get sensible people to talk about things, we could sort this mess out in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, the criminals who are destroying the planet that we live on as fast as they can are very powerful, and not least because of the propaganda system that they've got built up.